Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network, where we review all the films, documentaries, series that get released each week on streaming services. And of course, at the end of the show, let you know what's coming out so you can create your very own watch list. To help me do this, give out recommendations or non-recommendations, as the case may be, as of course, as my very lovely co-host, using the term incredibly loosely as always, is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be, brother. It's been a while.
Hey man, it's
We
been a
took a
while.
little week hiatus, if we will, and that was a pretty packed couple weeks. We're gonna focus on this last week for the most part, because it's just too much to go over. It is what it is. There's another big week coming up, starting today. Actually, a couple shows
hmm
dropping. We'll let you know all that towards the end of the show, as always. But before we get to that, I guess I'm trying to do something different. So last week we started, I guess, going over one big story in terms of streaming and all that. We had talked about the Harry Potter, the series coming out, which was confirmed, of course. Um, but let's stick with Warner Bros. For a second, because they had their, I don't know, stockholders meeting or whatever they have, right? Whatever the case is, and David Zaslav
hmm
is there, who is the CEO of Warner Discovery, and talking about these changes. There's one particular change which is interesting to say the least, where they went over, I guess who wanted to change the name of what is HBO Max currently. Not the cat. Yeah, the
So
casual
just
fan might know what the
Max.
hell is that is, but it's gonna affect everyone because it's a pretty big change. And listen, as fans, whether it be TV or sports, we all think we know better, right? We all get this player. What are you doing? We're all geniuses. We're not doing the job, and I get it, right? But we're still gonna do it because that's what we do. And for the most part, as much as you think we can improve things, they're smarter guys than us doing this. I guarantee you that, no question. I love what David
Or,
has done. Maybe
I don't
not.
know
I don't know.
about that, but whatever.
But that being said, they're in the position, and we're
Kathleen
not.
Kennedy
Just saying.
aside.
Well, maybe in some cases that may yeah, Kathleen Kennedy may be the example where you might do better than her. But all that being said, Zasla's been making good decisions as of late when he took over. This one, this is weird. Well, now they're gonna officially change HBO Max to just Max,
Yes,
which
just the
I
Max.
do not get why they would put HBO, the brand HBO, has been around for decades, right? The At least the
At least,
80s, I
right?
think. I don't even
80s?
know. Home box office, of course, been around forever. They've
Mm-hmm.
been doing it first before even Netflix was doing it, right? In terms of shows and all that, and even um, experimenting with their 10 episode, 12, 13 episode runs and all that with Sopranos, The Wire, not even before the FX started with The Shield. We're on forever. HBO is a brand. It's a name. People know HBO. Why would you get rid of it and have a picture here of something they put on there? It says, they have an ad, I guess what it says, introducing Max, the one to watch for HBO.
I mean,
How about HBO, the one to watch for HBO? Like, I don't, it's like, I don't get it. It's like, come to Michael's, the place for McDonald's. You just call it McDonald's. We know McDonald's. Why would you change it? I want to go get,
why
let's go
not?
to
Why not
McDonald's to get
McDowell's?
McDonald's. No, it's weird and it's odd because I know when they first released, when it first went to HBO Max a couple years back, even before David Zaslav took over, and I guess they had HBO, HBO Online, HBO on the go, HBO Go, I think what it was.
They had
Yeah,
like HBO
exactly. And
everything essentially, but it was all
right, it was a
HBO.
cluster
You
though,
could
right? They
whatever.
could have
I
just called
mean,
it
it was
HBO and
just
put everything on the one thing,
mm,
and it was like 8 different services all doing the same. It
mm,
was weird. It was awkward, and now here they are again, and it's like this Max, and you go to the casual fan, hey, you got Max, another streaming service. Here we go. It's just odd and weird to do that. I don't know. Listen, it's odd. I don't get it. I think it's pretty stupid. It is what it is, and there's maybe Kathleen Kennedy called David and said, "Hey man, I got a great idea for you. Call him Max." Hey,
the Max. I called him he called him Zach. What do we call him?
well, Max, what
How
do you
about the
do? Max is
Max?
great. Who knows HBO? Who is this? I don't know who knows HBO. Whatever. It's been around since before I was born, probably.
Like at the end of the day, it doesn't
It,
really matter.
I mean, look,
Let's
at the
be
end of the day,
honest.
it's not.
They could call it Rainbow Coalition for all I care. I go for what they're gonna have
Of
on the
of
damn
course. And
service,
look, at
not
the
what
end of
it's
the day,
called.
right. It's just kind of fun. It's just funny and it's silly. And it's like, I mean, it causes some confusion
Mm.
amongst the regular fan base who's not, we're into this a lot more than a lot of people are, right? As far as in the know and reading stories about them, people will just might hear Max and they're like, what's that? And it's like, now it's a re-education process. Well, Max is the place for HBO. And someone might say, why not call it HBO?
Well, I mean, but and in fairness, it's not just HBO because it's also all
Just
it's
sure,
Discovery.
Discovery,
It's a lot
yeah,
of stuff to
Discovery,
put it
whatever else they
together,
have.
right? Because HBO Max had like all DC stuff
Sure.
and had a bunch of other channels, and so now it's not put everything together, call it the Max, so be it. That's where you're gonna find your that
Yeah,
content. Okay, great, let's go.
whatevs. By the
What else?
way,
Yeah.
let's get started. When this couple of shows ended, I want to talk about one. A show in particular here. That it's on Michael's. It's the place to get Paramount Plus, and that is of course Picard. Of course.
Stop beating that dead horse, dude. Jesus Christ.
So season three, the finale, the series finale came to a close. Where, I mean, it could be fair to call this. Let's be honest. This was not Picard season three. This was the Next Generation season 8. Is what this was, and that's a good thing, right? Because that's basically what it was. It felt like a season of the Next Generation, right? Star Trek, which is great. A lot of people think that's the best show they've ever had. Probably, yeah, which ended very well. Great ending to that show back in the day. This one here is, I was looking forward to this one. I heard good things. I get telling you guys, I heard good for months. I've been hearing how good the season was and all that. And okay, because the last one I wasn't a fan of. The first one was fine. So a lot of people have tuned out after the first or second season. Those who have tuned out, I think you should tune back in, because if you're watching Picard, you're probably a Next Generation fan, and this is exactly what this season was. Very good season. I liked how it ended. There's one bit that was kind of bothering with introduction of a going to the well with one of the villains, but fair enough. I thought it was a great season, very fun, exciting, and I enjoyed this a lot, man. It's a good recommend for me, man. Especially if you're off the show, get back on at least for this last season. Chew your thoughts.
No, man, I thought it was great. I mean, it was good to see it back to what we expected. You know, when they announced Picard the 3, 4, 5, whenever they announced it way back when at Comic Con, and they were launching Paramount Plus. I thought this was a great season, a great show, top to bottom, beginning to end. I mean, it had the feels, it had the nostalgia, it had the humor. Worf is
Wolf
a
is great.
comedian.
There's a scene at the end. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah,
That
that
was one line. Oh,
that
I
was
know
just there.
that was yeah, the fighting scene, and Riker tries to pick up his
Oh, that's right.
battle or whatever, and it's like he's like, I didn't realize this was so
Oh, you forgot how
heavy.
strong Worf is. Um,
Yeah, exactly. That too. Yeah, Klingon. But overall, man, I thought it was good. The story was good and kind of integrating the old and the new, right? And taking it one step, no pun intended, the evolution, right? One step forward. Even the Jack Crusher, was it Jack Crusher? I can't remember
oh, the
his name.
son,
Was it?
Picard's son, yeah, who's introduced in the series, right?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's Jack. Maybe you're
yeah.
right. I don't know
That's
why
right.
I'm blanking on that.
Is it Jack? Yeah, I think it's Jack Crusher. Whatever. I'm probably want to confuse it with Will Wheaton's character.
Right, Wolf Crusher. Yeah.
Whatever. Her first son. Right. Yeah, that's right. But no, man, it was good action all around, and a lot of tense, a lot of good things that they kind of showed, and the story was interesting, right? We're bringing in other characters from other series with the Star Trek Voyager and Deep Space Nine, and those characters and those storylines kind of integrated everything into this one cohesive story that made sense, right? Not more
Yeah,
than season two, definitely, with the whole time travel and the whole board mixture, which was a
yeah.
little, little confusing
The
and
season two
off-putting
just
to
didn't work.
say the
It just
least.
didn't work. Ultimately, but
Yeah, yeah.
this one, made up for it. A
Yeah,
lot. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I think it was great. And yeah, I mean, if you jumped off, get back, at least
yeah,
finish it now. Whether this continues with the spinoff,
yeah.
something else,
They
obviously,
did
got
set it
the
up.
end credit scene.
Yeah,
We,
there's an
we'll,
after
we'll
credit
see.
scene where
We'll
it was
see.
set up
We'll
with
see.
like another character which we've
Hmm.
seen. Interesting. So I'll watch it just to see how it goes. But nonetheless, this alone was a
Yeah.
really good. It's one of those seasons where if they were just said we're doing one more season of the Next Generation, great, and there's a good way and a great send off, right? The ending I think mirrored the original finale, part of it anyway. It's a scene there I think.
Whoa,
Right,
the
right,
poker
correct,
scene. Talk
correct.
about
Yeah,
the poker
yeah,
scene.
yeah,
Yes, that's right. So
yeah.
yeah, all
That
of
was well
them
done.
together at the table
Yeah, that was a cool
playing,
scene.
playing
Yeah, good
poker. Yeah,
callback to
so
that.
just
And
like that.
it's you don't hear it all unless
Absolutely.
again you call it Picard all you want. It's not every day you get two finales of the same show, right? That hit. So good for them, sticking the landing. So I was surprised by that. A good watch. It's 8 episodes, right? 10 episode run. I'm sorry, on Paramount. So you guys catch that.
10 episodes.
The new stuff. Let's start with the movies. The plus. Let's
Actually,
call it the
let's
plus.
call it the plus.
On Apple Plus released a film this week, Ghosted, starring Ana de Armas, Cubana. So all kudos to her. Of course, we got Captain America, Chris Evans. Kind of a rom-com action film, I guess. Where Evans, he's a farmer. I guess he's helping his dad's farm. Meets Ana de Armas, who, unbeknownst to him, is a CIA spy. He gets caught up in the middle of it as he tries to surprise her when she's out in France because he's pretty much a stalker. And all hell breaks loose, and now she's got to protect him and blah, 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 solve the mystery. Now, I was looking forward to this one. I love Ana de Armas. I love Chris Evans. But man, this movie was sucked. This is not good. I did not enjoy this at all. Comedy wasn't funny, so it failed there. The action was not was shot. Terrible CGI, lame. Apart from a couple cool cameos, Marvel related, that was interesting in there. For
Well, we had multiple cameos. So we had
yeah,
Deadpool, we had Marvel, and we had
yeah,
Bebop or Harold and Kumar. However you remember him
those
from.
those are funny. The Deadpool one's a little awkward, but for the most part, those are kind of cool to see that. But ultimately, for me, man, it was just not good. If you can't, it's an action thriller comedy. If you can't get the comedy right, you can't get the action part right, you failed already, right? It is what it is. And as far as rom com, it's all kind of the same at the end of the day. Boy meets girl, boy doesn't want to, whatever, yada yada yada. At the end, yeah. So this is not a good film. Disappointing. Apple Plus has done better than this. Chewy, your thoughts? Maybe I'm crazy.
I don't know. I actually,
Okay, yeah,
I don't know,
fair
it's
enough.
kind of entertaining. I mean, I watched it with my wife, and so we enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think, uh, actually, the CGI doesn't bother me much, especially because it's a rom com, so I'm not looking for,
No,
Marvel esque level of
well,
CGI. So
yo,
let's be honest, right?
those green screens
I
were pretty
go with
bad.
my expectations. Okay.
They were pretty bad.
So, but whatever. But still,
Okay.
I thought it was funny. I don't know where they hit within the comedy. Yeah, like I said, it knows what it is, right? I think the bigger issue is that the chemistry between two characters
Yeah,
was lacking in some instances. It didn't seem like
I
there
agree
was a
with that. Yeah,
natural
that was the
chemistry
other
between
problem,
the
right? You're right.
two. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. Not that it's not funny or entertaining. It is. It's a funny story. It's relatable because we know some people who are as needy or as clingy as you'd expect Captain, America's ass to be. No pun intended. But I mean, it was more of
That's
a
fair.
chemistry
That's
issue
fair.
between the two, right? Where I would have thought there'd be a
Yeah,
more on-screen connection that would be more natural
yeah.
evolving versus
There was no
it
heat
seemed to be
between them, and
forced.
that's a big part,
As
right?
far
And
as
they were both
between
fun, but
yeah,
you give someone
yeah,
subpar
yeah,
writing, that's what you're gonna get. There's only so much you can do. You can spin straw into gold in this case. But yeah, for me,
yeah.
whatever.
But
Sure.
yeah, I found it entertaining. I was worth a watch. Like I said,
My
it's
wife, as
free,
long as I kept
so
watching, my
what the
wife
hell?
liked it. But again, she's like Mikey from those old commercials. She likes it. So she likes everything. So
Yeah, look, well, she
whatever.
liked it,
So
so there you go.
there's some entertainment value for others, I'm sure. But buyer beware with that one. Um, Documentaries. We got one released. Chimp Empire on Netflix.
Actually, we had
Oh,
two, but
well, I'll let
we,
you
we
bring it up in
completely
a
missed
second.
one.
Okay.
Also, it was yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, let me plug this in because
Yeah,
there you go. Battery
Chimp
died.
Empire.
Sorry about that.
So this one, narrated by Mahershala Ali, of course, Academy Award winner, soon to be Blade.
Mhm.
Speaking of the MCU, this was a harken back to the old school National
Yay!
Geographic, documentaries about certain animals. In this case, obviously chimpanzees, and there's a little, I guess, a group of them. I think it was in Uganda. I think is what it was. I think it was Uganda,
I
right?
want to say Uganda. Yeah,
Right.
there's a reserve there where they've been
Hmm.
observing them for decades now. This I don't want to say group or call it an empire, but as I would say, it's one particular uh, family of chimpanzees, right? They've gone through decades of observation and where they've been naming them and seeing them grow and evolve and as things progress naturally. kind of seeing them in their own environment and how relatable they are to how close they are. I mean, they are our closest human relative from a genome standpoint. So it's good to observe it and learn
See
and
how our
see
sibling
how they
brothers
live and how
live
they
on the other
grow.
side of the world. It was fine. You know, it was
Hmm.
entertaining. It's good background. Again, it because right now documentaries have all been more about serial killers or these big events and all that. We kind of forgotten the ways of how documentaries kind of began. Not kind of began, but we used to seeing them in terms of focusing on animals on Africa or whales or Shark Week, that kind of stuff, right? If this is your kind of
Hmm.
vibe, yeah. Otherwise, it's not a very exciting one. It's well done. It's cool. Yeah, it's 4 episodes.
Only four
It's
episodes, so
enjoyable.
if it's, I mean, like I
If you're
said,
under
I mean,
interest in chimpanzees,
yes.
obviously don't bother. But if you are, you like this kind of old school kind of vibe to it, I would recommend it, Chewy.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it takes a snapshot of a particular tribe, the leader, the struggles between them and another group, and the dying of
Mm-hmm.
essentially of one that had been their leader, been living there for 30 years, and had been their leader for six, and then obviously the rise of the next generation
Yeah, it's similar how it
of
follows human
chimpanzees.
patterns, I guess, in some degrees. It is so, which makes it very
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah,
yeah, this I
exactly.
recommend. Again, it's not gonna blow you away, I don't think, but it's a
Mhm.
very interesting kind of different kind of documentary. We don't see as much on Netflix anymore. So good for them. Like I said, they always most
Mhm.
of the time, I say 80-90% they hit on documentaries, right? With the good to great or whatever. Rarely you get some bad ones. Let's
Mhm.
stick with Netflix. New show, Kerry Russell coming back. Of course, her days on FX, the Americans. New show called The Diplomat. This dropping its, I believe, 8 episode run. Basically, she's a diplomat now.
Mhm.
She's an ambassador, U.S. ambassador, who's married to another very popular ambassador who is assigned to go somewhere. Things a ship off British seas was attacked. Several British military died. So they sent her over to kind of smooth things over, put us a face in near our allies and all that. But there's unbeknownst to her, she's really sent there because the vice president is about to exit stage left and needs someone to replace her. They figure she may be a good candidate. Kind of goes from there. Chewy, start with you as far as your thoughts on this one.
I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying this one. A lot. It's got me very captivated and interested, and like I'm paying attention and watching because there's a lot of moving parts. So it's not something that you can just kind of pay attention. Like Chimp Empire and be on your phone and stuff. So I'm paying attention, but I really enjoying it. I mean, I like the political intrigue about it. Kind of what's going on between various factions, various groups, various governments, and I think it's a very,
Yeah,
very good
I'm with
show.
you. I'm liking it. I'm not loving it, but I'm liking it more than I thought I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on political. It's not a political thriller. Let's get that out of the way, right? It's not. But what I like
Mm-mm.
about it, the tone, right? It's a very lighter, comedic-ish tone. It's not a comedy. Don't get me wrong. It's not a drama. It's a drama. But the relationship between her and the husband, who Sue Rufus, who we seen like in Man in the High Castle and all that. We saw him in
Yeah,
Kaleidoscope. I love that. He's great.
that's all right. Yes.
He's really good in here, and him. The chemistry between them two is there, unlike it was with Chris Evans and Eddie Armas, right? Right. Although they have a
Yes,
kind of yeah, they're
absolutely.
having a
They got
strange
on-screen
marriage.
chemistry, but them
Yeah.
yeah, well beyond strength because they're on the verge of divorce. Obviously, he has a lot of influence and
Mhm.
power because he is a U.S. ambassador as well. Has built a lot of relationships throughout his career, and he's trying to help her put her in a position to be vice president, essentially, right? But the way he
Yeah.
does it is very comedic. It's in your face. It strains the relationship beyond belief. But he
Mhm.
plays it very aloof, right? Where and she has a couple lines where you don't know what you're getting
Right. And
until it's too late
it's
with
because
what he
they could have played
does.
this very seriously, right? It can be very, conniving or manipulative, but that's not how he does it. Kind of, he has good intentions at the end of the day, right? And it's more about her than him, But she's very abrasive to say the least. They tried to do like a photo shoot with her. She's like, she don't want no part of that. She just wants to do her job, whatever. She's not the wave and kiss babies kind of girl, kind of gal. But yeah, I love the tone. It's a fun show. It's actually a pretty good show and some serious topics, but
Yeah.
that tone
And
helps it
and
a lot.
Howard Hamlin, Howard
Yeah,
Hamlin as
true,
president. I mean, come
true. So I mean, this one works. I was surprised, and this is a good
on.
recommend, a good. above filler-esque level show on Netflix. I think you guys should check out. I'm actually
Hmm.
enjoying it. Because this shows it can be very dry. They really can be, right? And if you're not into the whole political thing, it's not for you because of the tone and all that. I think it really kind of mixes things up and makes it a little bit more accessible, I think. So
Hmm. Probably like what those are interesting is kind of like the all what that's what happens behind closed
mhm,
doors, behind the scenes, right? Or the negotiation between
of
governments
course.
and particular individuals, and how that lends to determining policy and optics of situations and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of the show as well because everything's going on and
Yeah,
underneath the
it's a
sheets
very interesting,
and
very good
behind
show.
closed
That surprised.
doors.
There's another one that kind of surprised me. I think I wasn't gonna enjoy this one at all. That's good. So I definitely recommend. No doubt
Mm.
about it in both that parts. This next one, Peacock, dropping 4 episodes of a new show called
Peacock.
Mrs. Davis. This one here is a show about there's an AI, right? It's current times, but alternate reality, I guess we're gonna call it. There's an AI
Mm.
out there who it's kind of controlling most things, and people can tune into her and have like their headsets and kind of telling them what to do. They're kind of guiding society, right, to live a more order world, I guess, a world in order.
Peaceful,
Right,
a more
exactly. And
utopian
then
type society, I would say.
there's a nun who she is aware of this. She doesn't like this AI. There's a faction going of rebellion, I guess you want to call it, going against this AI. This the field. It's literal. Something is not it's not right, right, not sitting right. And so now she is contacted by they call the known to her as Mrs. Davis is the AI, right? That's the algorithm is what they actually refer to. She gets
Hmm.
tasked to go find the Holy Grail for whatever reason, and she reluctantly does it because she strikes a deal with Mrs. Davis, and I'm not gonna spoil that part of it. And she's off on her mission to try to go get the Holy Grail. I'll say this is David Lindelof, right? Who's known for unconventional stuff in writing sometimes, things like Lost and what was it, The Watchmen, right? And I forgot the other show. There's a little
Hmm.
deeds. Doesn't matter. Either way, this show is bizarre, but at the same time unique and very interested. And I'm all in here. And I'm not sure if it's a show gonna be for everybody because it's the comedies. It's not conventional. The story is unconventional. There's a lot of things introducing with faith and Jesus and all this, and this AI, and obviously the AI, in my eyes, representing the new deity, right? Like whoever follows, expecting the technology and all that. We see something similar to American gods, right?
Hmm.
And now at my having to go after the Holy Grail, the one thing that can probably prove that God exists or what that stories are true, would go against what I guess Mrs. Davis represents. I'm guessing that's why she sent her out there for it. But nonetheless, a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's bizarre, and it's unusual, and you don't see television like this much. So I'm all in, for better or worse. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that?
I,
It's
yeah,
unique.
unique
It
is one
definitely
way to
is.
put it. Confusing. To go back and read a couple things because if you're not
No,
paying
yeah,
attention,
you have
you'll
to
get confused
really
very
focus on the
quickly.
show.
The yeah, the characters are definitely unique.
Yeah,
The Australian
it's
guys are right. um, but so there's a lot going on, a lot of story, a lot of backstory, introducing various episodes, a lot of scenes that you later come find out are not in the real world. I guess they're in her
well,
mind. And so
sure,
once you
sure,
well they are. I mean, once you understand that, or in her mind or in
right.
another dimension, I'll just put it that way. But once you understand that, then it starts making a lot more sense of what's going
Mhm.
on and the interaction between the characters and herself and how faith is brought into this. But it definitely, yes, I am in. I mean, this is one of these unique shows that has a little bit of sci-fi, has a little bit of faith, has a little bit of
Adventure.
mystery, I mean, so um, and now that I've watched the 4 episodes, and after watching that first cold open, I'm
Right,
like,
things start
okay,
making sense. Yeah, and I like that,
I
right? Kind of
see
surprise
what's
you with
happening.
things that
Yes, yes,
aren't what this.
because
Yeah,
they introduce it as history, but then
yeah. I
not
want to spoil
so
it. But it's
much.
an interesting
After watching,
twist, I
yes,
guess, too,
yes,
with that beginning scene, which is pretty graphic, mind you. This pretty
absolutely,
graphic show, which I like.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Oh God, yeah. and once you find out
Yeah,
what it
you're
was
like, oh,
for,
yeah, it
that's
changes
fun.
perspective of what you
Like,
watch, and that things that are happening, even with the
yes.
like the scene in her head, right? With what's going on in her head and all that, you didn't expect to see. You thought it was something, and it's not. The whole thing with the beginning, which it's not what it is. It's not very. It's fascinating. Like I said, it's
Mm-hmm.
wild, incredibly unique, and I think it should be
Mm-hmm.
watched just because of it. Again, I don't think it's gonna be for everybody. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But give it an episode or two, give it a shot. It worked for me, and like I said, it's wild, it's crazy, man. I'm kind of liking it, dude. Because again, it's we don't see anything like this on TV. This is as unique a show as you're gonna find. It's going on right
Mm-hmm.
now, and that's been released in a while, right? In terms of storytelling and the story itself, it's just very interesting. This is
Mm-hmm.
one that could really fail upon ending, right? This is really gonna rely on how this ends, right? I'm not sure there's a limited series, and I think it's a limited series. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But let's
I
see
have
where
no
it
idea.
goes because you can go and serve and twist so much before things just fall off the rails, right? You can overdo it, outthink yourself and the audience. So, but that being said, I hope it doesn't. Very entertaining, and I think it's an absolute watch on Peacock. It's weird. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what is this show? Why am I liking it so much? It's one of those things. So it's what it is. This next one is going back to Apple Plus. Drops of Gold is based off a manga written a few years ago. I read it takes a different take on the manga, but not being that being said, it's a show about we have a young woman who an author who has an estranged relationship with her father who has this incredible wine collection. He's a wine connoisseur, if you will, and is a young
Yeah,
enology, I
and
think
they
is what they
call it
call it, or whatever.
enology.
Yeah,
I think it's
enologist, whatever.
enologist
I
is the
personally haven't
term.
heard that
Yes.
term. I'm not a wine guy. Yeah, exactly.
I'm
So
not a
whatever.
yeah, I'm not a
You have
wine guy,
sommelier and
so
all that, right? I know that term. Am I saying that right? But yeah, so either way, so as a young girl, she had a gift for tasting, and all that and smells and tastes, and he's been kind of he was grooming her as a young child. A traumatic event happens, things get estranged, and now he passed away, and now in his will, there's kind of a contest he set up between one of his daughter and one of his students. He taught, I guess, someone who's highly
mm-hmm.
his top student, right? So
No, it's top
now
students
I think
probably.
the
Yeah.
state's worth over hundreds of millions of dollars. I forget what it is. The wine collection alone is worth like 700 million, I think. Yeah, yeah, ridiculous amount of
Yeah,
money.
it's
Yeah, so
ridiculous amount of
there's a
money. The
contest, a
collection.
wine
Yeah.
tasting, I guess, contest, and the winner gets the kit and caboodle, right? And I'll say this: I wasn't expecting a lot. I'm not a wine guy, and I was happy to say, at least for me anyway, that they made wine tasting interesting, right? And engaging. That really good first episode. Second episode was okay. First episode was really good, setting up the story and what was going on. I was kind of all in here, Chew. I gotta admit, I was surprised. I was really enjoying this one. I was watching a couple of shows at the same time, and I found myself, let me go back and finish the second episode. It dropped two. It's a weekly release on Fridays.
Hmm.
But I'm enjoying it, man. I like the character. I like
Yes.
what's going on, what happened to her. Very interesting. And now she's going through the steps to kind of remediate that to herself. I don't want to spoil too much of it because she has issues. I'll say this: she can no longer drink, which makes this contest a problem for her. So she has to find other ways to kind of navigate those waters and still try to get the inheritance. Chew, your thoughts on this one?
No, man, I was pleasantly
Yeah,
surprised by how much I was interested in this show. And not so much, like I said, I'm not a wine guy by any stretch of imagination. So, being
true.
educated in that aspect, and that world and what's involved and the nuances of wine and winemaking and the tasting process and procedure makes, it made it interesting for me who I really could give two shits about. But
Yeah,
the story is what's driving this, right? And ultimately, this contest between these two characters, these two individuals, or one is trying to be a enologist, right? And who's being shunned by his family, his grandfather who wants to take over his empire, his company, based out of Tokyo, and her who is obviously grew up in France and had no relationship for his father with her father for 20 plus years. Unbeknownst to her, you'll get introduced to the reasons why, what happened, and you get all that backstory. But I mean, this is a very, very, very good show. Almost, I would say, almost much
it's
watch
close.
list at this point. I mean, it's compared to definitely some of the more recent, so Apple Plus shows. This is an international show,
Yeah,
so it's a
English
mixture of
and
French,
English. Yeah,
Japanese, and English. So anything on English is being dubbed. So, but there's enough English mixed in that okay, it doesn't distract from having to read the subtitles on the scenes where they're speaking French or speaking
yeah, yeah.
Japanese and whatnot. But this is. I mean, I think this is
No,
real. I mean,
and I never thought, I was
it's
like,
got
I thought
me
it was gonna be a
watching
throwaway
already. But
show,
yeah.
and I guess we talked about it, and I didn't see the last one that came out with what's her face, Alias, what's her name, Jennifer Garner.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
I didn't
last
hear
thing
good
you
things
said to me.
about it,
Yeah.
so I didn't go back to it. But
With
yeah,
yeah,
I hear it's
I'm watching
fine.
that one
It's been
actually.
a
It
lot
was
of
pretty good.
fine with Apple Plus, right? Just okay, it's decent, it's good. Recently, where they were stellar, this is really good, man. I was really enjoying the show. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this made my,
Yes.
debated what is my favorite show the week that got released this week. Maybe, I don't know. But it's not
I
discussed. You
mean,
asked me
it's
what's
up
the
there
show
with
I should watch
Diplomat.
of
I mean,
all
it
these.
definitely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
may depends when you ask, and this is the one to watch. I don't know, but yeah, I think this is more what Apple Plus have been giving us for a while, months ago. So I really enjoyed this. Very surprised. This comes out on Fridays. 2 episodes currently right now. Apple Plus. High recommend. I think from both of our part in this one. So this last one here is Amazon Prime, or I'm sorry, Prime. We have a show called Dead Ringers starring Rachel Weisz, and also stars Rachel Weisz, who is playing twins here. This is based off a book. It was a movie back in the late 80s as well, film, which I heard,
Yes. Yes,
from
that's
what
correct.
I never saw the movie, but it's taking different turns. The show does in the movie. A basic premise is the same. Is our obstetricians, I guess. Is that the right term? Um,
Yes,
yeah, New York
that's
City.
correct. In New York City.
The
Yeah.
twins are completely different. Both ends of the spectrum. One is very meek, repressed. The other one's definitely more outgoing, verbose.
Outgoing
Aggressive,
doesn't even
aggressive.
describe what she
Total,
does,
complete,
dude.
total opposites. And I'll say this off the bat: I think
Wow.
Rachel Weisz is awesome in this. Fantastic. She's great. Deserves any kudos that they're throwing her way and all that. So but back to the story. They're have a goal to run their own nursing, baby delivery home or facility,
Birthing
whatever the
clinic.
case. Right, a
Yeah.
birthing center. There you go.
Birthing clinic.
Yeah, where
Yeah,
they
it's a
can give
birthing clinic.
appropriate
Yeah,
care
birthing center. Yeah.
to those future mothers and all that, and
Hmm.
which is the main focus on. I think it's Elise, not Elise. Is that her name? I forget her name. Beverly. I think it's Beverly. The meek twin, the meek
Beverly.
twin,
Yeah.
who that's her goal. The other twin is more into experimenting as far as fertility and kind of creating embryos without having the use of actual conventional methods of birthing, as controversial or it appears to be legal. But that being said, this dropped all 6 episodes in Amazon Prime. And Chewy, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Your thoughts
Hmm.
on that?
I mean, I read some reviews about it that had me worried about what I was going to watch, right? So maybe temper my expectation. But I've seen 2 episodes, and the characters are definitely, yeah, the at least Elliot character is definitely out there. I mean, she does some things. There's a couple scenes that I was like, "Are you for real?" And I don't want to spoil it because if you want to
Mm.
watch, you'll see the doctor, the husband of the patient
Oh, right.
scene
Yeah,
in her
yeah,
office.
yeah.
I'm like,
This
"Jeez
show. This
Louise!"
I said
Oh
from the
my
beginning.
God.
This show is very
Holy
graphic,
cow.
almost unnecessarily so, right? Because when it shows a lot of the birthing and the births being
Yeah.
happening, they show him, and in the ways. Yeah, they show it
No, I
all.
don't mind that at
I
all.
mean,
That I don't
it can
mind
be
at
a lot
all.
for somebody,
Yeah.
very jarring. So just buyer beware with that. But just I think fair to mention that there doesn't pull any punches
Yeah.
when it comes to the birthing these babies. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and so it's definitely pushing the envelope in that regard, in the graphic nature of the show, and the sexualized nature of the show as well. The investor group, that whole dinner scene, that was
It's a lot, and it's okay. Yeah,
it's
I'll
a
leave
lot
it.
to
I'll
take
let
in.
you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll leave it like that. It's a lot to take in. They're not very good people, to say the least. Um, how typical or prototypical that is. But I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm watching it. I'm that 6 episodes. I think seems about right
Yeah,
based on what I've seen in these 2 episodes. And so they're going to get to the point quickly, and but you kind of see where this is leading to, where this is going, right? Especially between the two sisters, and their relationship and how different they are, and what each one is wanting out of this. What their dream
right.
of
But they had
having their
like
own
kind
clinic,
of
essentially.
different agendas and different ways to get into that agenda. Yeah, it's
Yes.
gonna come to a head at some point. We know
Mhm.
that with this, the meek one has a girlfriend now who uses the sister's help, and they kind of do like kind of swap, twin swap, to get her attention, to get
Yes, a
the
little
ball
swap piece.
rolling, and
Yeah.
to swap back so she can continue that relationship. Um, I don't. This is a weird show. Not in the Mrs. Davis weird. It's well made. It's just, I don't think this is me for everybody
No.
either. I like the first episode. The second one, I was like, "What am I watching here?" With that's like you mentioned the dinner scene. I'm like, ugh, it's just it's gross, in a way, in terms of the discussions being had, which I'm sure it has all the time. But I think this almost
Mm.
exaggerated. I thought it was too over the top for me. Um, I don't know. I've seen 3 episodes, and it's like, where's the story? Where's this going? Because it just seems like it's not a very typical narrative being told here. A lot of pieces here and there. Just you've seen that third episode too, with something happens and situation happens, and I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
spoil it. But that being said, it's just it doesn't seem like it fits in. But maybe they bring it back. I don't know. It's all over the place. I'm still watching it. It's only 6 episodes. I saw three. I might as well finish at this point. It's done enough to where let's see how
Okay.
this ends. And Rachel Weisz is fantastic in this. She's great in two roles. Give her two Emmy nominations because she's really good. And there's such a difference in their performance, right? You can really tell instantly which twin is which, right? Very nuanced. It's fantastic. She's great. Um, it's a. I'll recommend it, I guess, but again, it's not for everybody. Ultimately, and if it's not for
Mm-hmm.
everybody, for me, like Mrs. Davis, which is not for everybody, it's a fun ride. This one is just kind of disturbing and dark, and it's up to you whether you want to plow through it or
Very
not,
dark.
right? And give it a shot. Give it at least two. The second episode will dictate to you whether you want to continue watching the show or not. To be honest with you, but I recommend at least give it that much, and you guys can determine for yourselves where you want to watch it. But I'll finish it. But again, it's okay. It's fine for me anyway. It was not a bad show, just an interesting show. I'll leave it at that. But that's all the shows for this week. So a lot of stuff to get on. You guys can watch. There's other shows, Lucky Hank, that's still going on AMC Plus.
Well, I will say
Oh yeah,
there was
I
another
forgot to
documentary we
circle back
missed.
on that. Yeah.
I like completely missed it. It's an Apple Plus. It's called Big Beast. I got another animal show
Oh yes.
documentary. This was narrated by Loki
Yeah.
himself, Tom Hiddleston. But
Okay.
this is only 30 minutes, so it's a lot shorter. And they focus on one particular large. So the first one is a gray whale. The second one is, I think it's a sea lion or the large sea lions. But they mix in some other I don't say auxiliary animals around them. So there's bottlenose dolphins and some other blue whales, and the other one that had some of the birds from the Rescuers. I can't remember what that type of bird is. If you ever saw the Rescuers,
Yeah.
back it's an early '80s cartoon. You know what bird? You know what bird I'm talking about. But I mean, it's very very well done, very interesting, very light. And I think that's probably a more enjoyable watch than Chimp. You'll find
Okay.
that more enjoyable
Yeah,
than
I
Chimp
saw
Empire.
that. I thought it was coming soon, not
As
out
compared
already.
to
So I'm
the
about to
first
go.
two.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah, that's why I was surprised. I
Okay.
thought it came out. So they
Oh
dropped
no,
two
I'll
episodes, new
catch up on
episodes
that.
every
That was
Friday.
interesting.
So like I said, each one is just 30 minutes. There's
Okay,
only two
good. And now
episodes
the
out right
place's
now.
thinning. We got a lot of shows, and not a show it's worth talking about here, but this show's been ending,
Mhm.
so it's kind of
Yeah.
clearing the plate, right? So you can bring in a whole new set of
Yes.
appetizers and
No more
main
Mando.
courses.
Glad to see Mando's kicking back in the shack with
Yeah,
Baby
good riddance
Grogu.
to
It's all
him, at
good.
least for the season anyway.
Oh, dude. Oh, man. Come on. You got to.
I,
It ended well, man. It wasn't a good season, but it ended on a high note. At
yes
least
and
that
no.
those
I'll
last
leave
two
it at that. I'll leave
episodes.
it at that. I didn't hate. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I'm just saying overall
Ah,
as a season,
jeez.
it was whatever.
No, no. As a
Right. Just
season,
talking about
it was
as far
all
as the
over the
season. It's
map.
not talking
But
about the whole
at least it
season as a whole.
ended.
Yeah.
Anytime you can end
No,
better
that's not a
than you
bad thing. I
start, that's
agree.
not a bad thing.
But yeah, but like I said, and I mentioned this in Nurse Spending, anytime where Picard surpasses Mando, that's not a good thing in my eyes, right? It did. This season Picard
Wow.
was better than last
Ooh,
season on
wow.
Mandalorian. Yeah, I mean just this season. Not
Okay,
saying
okay, okay. Yeah,
this, not the
I can't
series
argue with
Mando, but
that.
I'm just
I
saying
can't
this
argue with that.
where the series started strong in Mando and kind of Picard started and it ended well. So it's kind of the opposite. But either way. But yeah, listen, there's a lot of things. And this leaves our plates clear because a lot of stuff coming out. A couple of things today. Let's go with this now. We got two things on MGM Plus beginning today. Two
Mm-hmm.
horror genre-esque shows. One is From, second season. The second one is
Okay.
Amityville,
Mm-hmm.
an origin story, of course, a docu-series based on Amityville Horror, The House, of course, which is made to various films back in the 70s. Those come out today, MGM Plus.
Mm-hmm.
For those who,
All
I
right.
think it's 8 people now have it. I heard they got an extra subscriber, so good for them. I'm still waiting for my 7-day free subscription to finish. The Godfather of Harlem. I
Yeah,
know
good luck, man.
I got time. It's gonna fit in there. I might have to wait till it goes on Hulu again. At this rate, it is what it is. Those two are dropping on the 26th. We got the second part of the final season 2 of Working Moms on Netflix. Season
No, this
three.
is season. This is. Oh, was this the part?
I think
I'm not
it's a
sure how
second
many
one. It's a
seasons
second, but they
is
did
it.
like a two
Seven,
part,
eight.
like one part. And yeah,
Oh, is that what it is? Okay,
yeah. I
okay.
mean,
I had no
you
idea
can
they
call it
split them
season
into
three. No
multiple
one's gonna
parts.
okay,
Okay,
whatever.
cool.
What's the difference, right?
No, no, no. This is more in season three
Maybe,
because I've
maybe.
seen like
I don't. Maybe,
five or six
maybe more
seasons
than
of the
that. I
show.
guess maybe I misread
Yes,
something, but none.
yes. I know it's more in
Okay,
season three
fair
because I've
enough.
seen this over many years now.
Okay,
I think
so
it's
yeah,
like
but come
six or
on, that
seven
show I don't
seasons
watch,
now of the
so
show.
it is what it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean it's a Canadian comedy.
No, I heard good
I
things
find
about
it
it.
hilarious,
It's so
man.
many seasons go by.
Um,
It's hard
yeah.
to catch up with that. Right? Yeah, it's very
No, you
difficult,
can't
right?
go
Unless
back. I
yeah,
mean, it's like okay, let me
yeah,
go
it's
rewatch
just
all the Seinfeld.
you
Right?
can at a
You're gonna pick up the best episode. You know,
obviously,
soup
of course,
Nazi and
Close
face
Talker or Shrinkage.
shrinkage.
True, absolutely. Bubble Boy.
Anyway, okay,
Other
moving
so
on.
yeah, so on the
Manhunt.
26th, the same day, we get Hulu dropping Saint X. I think this is kind of murder
Yes, correct.
mystery. It takes place in some resort. I think a couple of sisters, one goes
Mm-hmm.
missing, and the other one pursues the truth, right? Something like that. Am I wrong with that? Uh,
Yes. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminded me a little bit. I thought this was based on. Remember that one girl that disappeared, was murdered
oh,
in
you thought it was
Aruba,
yeah. Hmm.
right? There was a whole trial about that. And so when I saw the trailer for that, it reminded me a little bit of that. And I thought, is this about
It's not.
that
It's not.
story? Like it's not, but it gave me this kind of gave flashbacks to that story back when mid
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so
2010s or
it could be
whenever
maybe
that
coming from
happened.
that. But either way, I mean, yeah. So this looks interesting. Is
Yeah.
Hulu's
Mm-hmm.
always consistent most of the times with the show. So
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that. On the 27th, HBO does that rare Thursday release. If they've done it from time to time, we got Love and Death, starring of course Elizabeth Olsen. Speaking of Marvel, the one guy from Breaking Bad, Todd
Mm-hmm.
from Breaking Bad, forgot his
And
name, but he's done last shows. He's actually pretty good.
yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah,
He's been
Fargo,
in
correct. Yeah, he's done a
Fargo
lot
as
of different things.
well.
He's pretty
What
good.
have
But yeah,
you?
this one here, it seems like it's Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
Olsen picks him out to have an affair with, right? So now, for whatever reason, like, I guess it's a cover up with the families and whatever. I don't know. I didn't get a good vibe off the trailer. Um,
This is
I
based
think
on a
so.
true story, if I'm not
So,
mistaken. Yeah, where
oh,
she
did she?
actually
Okay, I
murdered
didn't know that.
the
Okay,
wife of the husband.
okay,
Yes, yeah, no point. She had an affair, but then she ends up murdering. I think the real story is that she murdered, or was accused of murdering the wife
fair
of the
enough.
husband
Okay,
she was
so
having an
yeah.
affair with,
Okay, yeah. I
and the
don't think the
cover up
trailer.
that
Maybe I saw
stems
the first.
from that.
I usually only watch one trailer, not 7 ones.
Okay, maybe Terry
Okay,
didn't make that clear, but I've
gotcha.
read up that this is a
Okay.
based on true story, and that's kind of
Okay, limited
that's kind of what
series. It's
happened in real life.
HBO, so come on. HBO,
Hmm.
they hit more times than not by far. No question about it. Looking forward to that. Same day, Firefly Lane. I think this is the part. This is why I got
This is the
confused. It just
part
hit me right
two of
now
the
when I said
final
that. This is
season.
the part two of the second season.
Ah,
Correct.
okay. So Working
Right.
Man's, I think, was season seven. This is
Right.
part two of
Correct.
the final
Yes.
season, where they showed the first half earlier this year.
Right. So that's coming.
Now
That's
they're
the one
wrapping up
that's
the
a show I
story.
don't watch, but yeah.
I got it. Based on the novel, based
Yeah, I think this one I gave it
on
a
true
shot. It just
events
wasn't
as
for
well.
me, but it is what it is. But yeah.
No, no, it wasn't for everybody. I mean, it's the story. When you think about this, the story methodology
Hmm.
is very unique, right? Where they intermix present, flash forward, flashback events, kind of cliffhangerish ending to each episode. And if you've read the book, maybe the book is that way. I have no idea, but that was the much unique. But it's not for everyone. It's very, it's
No, no, yeah,
action adventure
it's fine. Like I
or
said, it just
sci-fi.
wasn't for me, but it has its fans. Yeah.
It's a friendship. It's a lifetime friendship, and the ups and
Gotcha,
downs
gotcha.
of that friendship
The
essentially and life.
27th, also Sweet Tooth, the second season. It was
Ah,
okay.
yes,
I
we
mean,
for
it did
that for
enough
a
for me to
while.
watch second season, so we'll dive into that one next week.
Mm-hmm.
I know that has a lot of fans, so I forgot that was coming out. The 28th on Disney Plus, we
Mm-hmm.
got Peter Pan and Wendy, another retelling, of course, of Peter Pan. Concerned because, yeah,
Or
I don't know
another
why not just go
iteration, I
back to
guess.
the well, right? This Disney, but I don't know about this one because it's just discussed about maybe theatrical release. They said no, that usually doesn't bode well, right? A la Pinocchio.
Well, what was the last one we
Pinocchio
had? I can't remember
is
the last one.
terrible.
With
So
Pinocchio was just
I,
terrible.
I,
Yeah, I
I,
didn't
I
watch it. I didn't see that one
yeah, no,
actually. Not
it's
even Disney
terrible.
Plus. I didn't see it. I watched the Guillermo
No,
del
that's a
Toro,
yeah,
which I
much
absolutely loved.
leagues better than that. Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks, but god damn it, dude, what are you doing?
Yes.
But I won't blame him.
He got
I
to
get you
pay
got to
bills. He
eat,
got
and
bills to pay,
he
dude.
he just acts in it. So, but that being said, so let's see. I'll give it a shot. Whatever.
When was the last Peter Pan movie that came out? Because I know there was a couple.
Oh, there was,
High King
I can't tell you the
musical
name
that
of
came
it,
out.
but
One was
the
with
one
Jude
there was
Law.
one with Jude
No,
Law, I believe.
that's
But
this
there's
one,
been
right?
several, obviously, several visions of Peter Pan and whatever. So this is just another one to the mix. So let's see.
Well, the only one that
Hook.
I care about was Hook, which was Robin Williams, which was. I mean, it was like
Well, it
more
was
of a
more like
retelling and
continuation. It was a
iteration of Peter
continuation,
Pan. I
really,
mean,
of
Peter
yeah,
Pan and what?
yeah,
Yeah.
of that.
Yes. Okay.
With
Yes.
I think
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Rufio
Rufio.
Spielberg
Rufio.
directed, Julia Roberts. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, some people don't like that
yeah.
film.
That's
I
so
do.
true.
I like
Roberts
this.
and
I admit
also
because I was at the right age. I enjoy it, but
I liked it a lot.
it is what it is.
I
But
looked at it. Yeah, we were at the right age. Captain
Dustin
Hook
Hoffman, right?
was
Bob
Dustin
Hoskins
Hoffman.
was
That's who it
Schmid.
was.
But yeah,
Bob
let's see.
Hoskins
I mean,
was he?
whatever. I mean, I'll watch it. Let's see. Maybe it kind of breaks the cycle of shitty movies on Disney Plus. The 28th, we got The Citadel. Rob Stark, of course, in this one. It's kind of a Bond-esque kind of
Bianca
thriller, right?
Jonas. Yeah.
Somewhat
Mm-hmm. Well,
spy
we definitely
thriller.
spy
Yeah,
thriller
looks actually looks
show.
pretty good.
Yes,
Yeah. Stanley Tucci, I
Stanley
love Stanley
Tucci.
Tucci,
Yes.
so I'm in
The-
just with that. I'm actually gonna
mhm.
see us on Tuesday night. I'm watching 2 episodes on the big screen. So maybe look a video on that one,
No,
but
nice.
obviously we get your thoughts, Chewy, on this one. But it looks good, looks entertaining. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to it. Usually release on the big screen, it usually says high hopes for it. So let's see if that's the case or not. And the last
Yeah.
one on the 28th is a documentary, more like a reality series than a documentary. Apart, it's King of Collectibles, the Golden Touch, where I think it's
Yes. Correct.
Peyton Manning, of course, a famous football player, his production company, Omaha Productions, who's also part of the show. I guess it's yeah, a reality show with a
Omaha.
sports
Omaha.
paraphernalia, kind of a collectible dealer or whatever the case is. The deal with other things. And his guest
Mhm.
stars, Mike Tyson's going to be in it, Drake, Karl Malone. So, so a lot of
We
people in
still
there.
got it.
So, whatever. It looks interesting. It looks fun. Kind of like, you know,
Look. I mean, we all collect.
we got, yeah,
Everyone
everyone has
collects
something or
something
had something at
in
some
our
point.
lives. I mean, turn around and look what you have in the back of your. And everyone has something: pop culture, posters,
Whatever.
coins,
Something.
memorabilia,
Yeah. Yes. At
mementos,
some point,
whatever.
yeah, same.
When you pay for it, got it
Women.
for free.
Yeah.
I've known people who collect the light fixtures from the
Yeah.
old style telephone poles to
Yeah.
my
Sneakers.
Funko
Yeah. People collect
collection,
sneakers.
Legos, whatever,
You name it.
baseball
Yeah. Dog,
cards. I
whatever,
mean, you name
Cabbage
it.
Patch
Yes,
back in the day or Beanie Baby. And the kind of Beanie Baby
cabbage
is the next big
patch.
thing. There's something called Ray Dunn now.
Oh
Does like this
God, yes,
pottery,
exactly.
all that stuff that women go nuts for. Um, yeah,
I
my
haven't
wife
even heard
included.
that
It's a
one,
big
dude. So
network,
I'm
and
glad.
Jesus, crazy. It's ridiculous. But whatever. Hey, to each their own. It is what it is.
So as humans, we all want to partake in something and collect
Mhm.
something that makes us feel good inside, or
Right, of
elicits a
course.
memory, or elicits a feeling, right? And whatever you choose to do, more power to you. But you find something, most of us gravitate towards something that just gives
Hmm.
us that feels, right? That we look at it, it's like, brings us back to our childhood or brings back to a specific memory, whatever that is, right? And you go out there and you go get it, right? And when it comes to sports memorabilia, I mean, it could be the catch ball. It could be whatever home run from the
Right, of
McGuire
course.
Sosa, whatever. I mean, people have got millions of dollars on this stuff: the bats, the hats, the gloves, the cleats, whatever, getting their signatures. And so it's
Yeah,
just
that's gonna
fun,
be a fun
man.
show. So I'll
People can afford
definitely
to do
catch
it.
it. I'm guessing 4, 5, 6 episodes. I guess 8, whatever. We'll see. Yeah, I
Who knows?
usually drop them
Maybe
usually on
four.
a
Yeah.
Friday. Documentaries usually drop on Wednesdays, kind of thing. Well, at least these kind of shows. But I get keep saying documentary. It's a
Mm-hmm.
reality show, not a documentary. I keep saying that. But yeah, so it's a lot of stuff, a lot of good things, interesting things like I'm looking forward to. So looking for another big week, a lot of stuff to catch up. I'm glad a lot of stuff ended to give me some space to kind of digest all the new shows. That being said, as always, every Sunday, join us back. We'll talk about these and, of course, let you know every week what's coming out. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. As always, Chewy, a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next week.